In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to go through the interactive tour of Photoshop. And if your Photoshop is still installing, don't worry, feel free to watch this video and follow along when it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create New, and it really doesn't matter which one I pick. And up here in the Learn panel on the top right, I can go under Fundamental Skills and see the Photoshop tour. I click on the Photoshop tour, and it launches the sample file, which is pretty, and I can follow along on this right panel here. A Photoshop document is actually made out of a stack of layers, and those layers can be found in the Layers panel right here. And you'll see that we have a room layer, an astronaut layer, an alien ship layer. Let's see what happens when we click this eyeball beside any of the layers. Boom. It makes that layer invisible. And we can toggle that visibility back by clicking the eyeball. Now, every individual layer can be moved and edited on its own without moving the rest of the document. So I can go ahead and click and drag the astronaut, or Jupiter, or this galaxy here without changing anything else. And in addition to moving, I can also edit that particular layer. So if I go to Galaxy, and just to make sure, I can visibility toggle here, and I can see which one that galaxy is. I can turn this layer down into its opacity. And so what that means is I make this layer a little more transparent. The other things I can do on a particular layer is I can make adjustments to the whole layer, something to do with, let's say, color or brightness. I'm going to click Jupiter so that layer is selected, and I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I can change Jupiter's color or hue without changing anything else. Now I'm going to go back and make the room visible again. And what I'm going to do is select the room layer so that that's the layer we're editing. I'm going to go up to this nifty tool, and this is the toolbar with all the different types of tools, but I'm going to go to the Spot Healing Brush tool. And the Spot Healing Brush tool, as you can see in that little GIF, allows you to remove small little marks or blemishes. And in order for me to set up my brush tool, I have to go up here to the Options bar and change the size of my brush. And let's say it's telling me to go about 50. I hit Enter, and now I have this brush here, and I'm going to just click and drag just over these little spots where the stars are, and you can see that they magically not only disappear, but Photoshop knows what color and what texture to put underneath them to make them look seamless. And we're just going to go here and basically clean up this whole ceiling here. The last step is to be able to add your own images into Photoshop. And what we're going to do is just grab a little basketball that I previously got. We're going to drag it right onto the canvas and plop it in. And you'll see that it adds itself as a new layer onto our stack. And I can go ahead and just resize it. And when I'm happy with it, I hit Enter. And similar to everything else, I can go ahead and make sure this is selected, make adjustments like brightness, contrast, turn down the brightness just to make this ball look like it belongs a little more into this environment. Or, like before, we can change the opacity, make it a little darker here like this, make it a little transparent. And voila, we suddenly just added a ball here. And that's it. So you learned about the Layers panel, you learned about a little bit about the toolbars, about how to adjust the tool options up here, and I hope you have fun playing around with Photoshop.